Good morning, everybody. We're just queuing up here for the first session this morning. As Pádraig has said, I'd like to welcome you all here. And now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Fergal Lemmy, CEO of Coillte. Coillte are on a path to becoming the best forestry and land solution company in Europe and are a key player in the bioenergy sector in Ireland. And just before Fergal takes the stage, we're just going to play a short video.
Coillte are privileged to be custodians of 7% of Ireland's land. Our forests and land now extend to over 440,000 hectares. Over the last 30 years, we have cared for and developed our estate and businesses, while being firmly focused on maximising the financial and social potential of these natural resources in a sustainable way. We have 3 high-potential businesses: forestry, land solutions and Medite SmartPly. The forestry sector employs 12,000 people, and every year it contributes €2.3 billion to the Irish economy, and the industry has the potential to double in size over the next 10 years. Coillte will play a leadership role in delivering this growth. We are enabling government policy to be implemented in key areas such as renewables, infrastructure, industrial development and tourism, all of which are leading to significant job creation. And through our wind farms, we are on track to deliver electricity to over 300,000 homes by 2019. Our Medite SmartPly business is Europe's leading producer of innovative, environmentally friendly wood panel products and exports to 32 countries worldwide. We want future generations to continue to enjoy our landscape and resources. That is why we are committed to managing all our activities in a sustainable way, and we play a critical role in mitigating the impacts of greenhouse gases and climate change. Our objective is to maximise the value of every hectare we own, while continuing to deliver social and environmental benefits for everyone to enjoy. Coillte. Grow, sustain, transform.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the backdrop video there. I thought it was helpful to give people a little bit of context as to who we are as Coillte. Sometimes we think just because we're the largest landowner in the state that people automatically know who we are and are familiar with what we do. I would like to thank Pádraig O'Neill and the Irish Bioenergy Association for the invitation to address this annual conference. I must say that when I was first approached, I was a little bit reticent. Bioenergy has had a crisis of identity within Coillte for many years. On the one side of the house, as you would see in the video, we've got our panels business, which would be concerned about the supply of fibre to that business. But on the other side of the house, our core forestry business sees it as a strong and really high potential business for the future. And as this discussion was primarily focused on the future role of bioenergy has to play in Ireland and how it should be supported, I thought it worthwhile to share with you some high-level perspectives as we see it. I may just escape from that video, lest people look at that and not listen to me. As highlighted in the video, the Irish forestry sector makes a significant contribution of €2.3 billion to the Irish economy and employs about 12,000 people rurally. And these are important jobs. They're in every rural community in the country. And our customers are hugely relevant in their rural economies. I mean, one of our customers, GP Wood in Inniskeen, is often described by some people as the Google of Inniskeen. And when you think about it, it's actually quite an apt description given how important it is to the local economy. We at Coillte manage an estate of 440,000 hectares, which is just over 7% of the country. And we plan to use our significant expertise and knowledge to play a key leadership role in driving the doubling of the size of the forest industry over the next 10 years. We believe that the bioenergy sector has a key role to play in the forest ecosystem and has an important part to play in this growth. As well as contributing towards the ambitious 2020 renewable energy targets, the expected growth in demand for biomass will be a key outlet for the increased supply of fibre projected over the next 10 years. The design of Ireland's RHI will be crucial to ensuring that measured policy initiatives are implemented. It is important that the RHI supports steady growth in the demand for fibre that is aligned with the expected increase in fibre supply. And this will enable a sustainable growth in the sector and industry, and that will blossom beyond 2020. So this morning I just wanted to share some perspectives on three areas. Firstly, the leadership role that Coillte will play in driving the mobilisation of private supply throughout Ireland. Secondly, the crucial role that measured policy initiatives, including the future RHI, will have in our view of ensuring the steady growth in this sector. And thirdly, the importance of ensuring that the increased demand is aligned with the potential growth in fibre supply over the next 10 years. So let me start with Coilte's role in mobilising private supply. Coilte's core forestry business supplies large and small saw logs to sawmill customers who produce construction timber, fencing and packaging material. Over 70% of these products are exported, mainly to the UK market. Over 70% of these products end up in applications throughout the UK and Europe. Pulpwood, which is produced from the tops of trees, is predominantly supplied to our Medite Smartply business, which manufactures value-added wood panels and are exported to 30 countries worldwide. And more recently, under the leadership of Des, we've started to supply pulpwood to emerging bioenergy market. Now, in order to meet the growing demand for fibre, we are continually deploying more effective planning and production strategies to increase our annual production volumes. Our job as Coillte is very clear. We need to drive the supply of fibre on this island, and we're already making significant progress in this role. In 2016, which is the year just gone, the supply of fibre increased by 15% in the Coillte estate to over 2.5 million cubes in just 1 year. That's a significant increase in the amount of fibre that we supply to our customers. And we intend to further increase this fibre supply over the next 2 years. And it is important that we give confidence to all our customers, including many of you in this room, that we are doing all within our gift to provide reliable supply onto the market. And in the coming weeks, as part of our leadership role that Coillte will play in mobilising private forest supply, we'll be launching a new private forest initiative, because we view that we have a leading role to play not just in driving mobilisation on our estate, but ensuring that we mobilise the supply of private timber throughout the country, because it's good that the overall industry and our customers can grow and they can use that supply to increase their businesses. The initiative we're announcing will be focused on acquiring semi-mature forest plantations. Our initial investment will be in the tune of 4 to 5 million, and we'll put in place a scheme where the private forest owner will be paid an annual premium for productive crops from year 21 to final clearfell. This premium will essentially replace the payments received up to year 20 from the Forest Service, thereby providing a continued secure cash income from the grower. Further benefits of our private forestry offering will include certification of plantation, providing a market for fibre produced, and fulfilling the replanting obligation. And the reason this is important is that it hopefully will provide a sustainable economic model for private growers to continue to have confidence to invest, have confidence to plant, and to make sure that the supply is there in the future. We expect that the growth in the renewable heat sector will stimulate regional demand for forest thinnings, energy crops, and other sources of biomass. Therefore, the development of suitable local biomass supply hubs will also play a key role in driving the mobilisation of fibre by matching local supply with local demand and providing the best route to market of first and second thinnings. Optimising our indigenous biomass use in highly efficient boilers and creating local biomass hubs will also support the creation of new jobs across the supply chain and in our rural economy. We at Coillte want to provide a leadership role in the entire industry and to provide access to our infrastructure to enable this to happen. It's not only good for us, but I think it's good for the entire industry if we play a strong role leading this and ensuring the supply comes to the market. Now let me turn to the role policy should play. I'm conscious that there's time set aside this afternoon for discussion on the RHI consultation, so let me attempt to provide some input to that discussion. If we take a step back and consider the key bioenergy policy drivers, the primary driver appears to be Ireland's ambitious 2020 targets for renewable energy and the significant challenges in respect of renewable heat. And whilst this is a crucial target, from our perspective, it is important that we also consider other reasons as to why the growth of bioenergy is the right thing for the economy. It is important that we consider the economics of supply and demand of the fibre industry, the impact it has on local rural economies, and what the optimal model is for this country. It is important that we think now about how we build an industry that is part of the ecosystem for the next 100 years and not just to hit a target by 2020. The economic case for investment in renewable heat continues to be difficult against a global backdrop of low fossil fuel prices and higher technology investment costs. Based on the current trajectory, it is widely accepted, and I'm sure not many of you would argue in this room, that Ireland will not achieve its 12% Res H target. The expected shortfall is equivalent of about 300,000 homes or 3,000 public sector buildings, or indeed 200 large industrial sites converting to renewable heat. Ireland faces the prospect of EU fines for falling short of up to €130 million for each percentage point shortfall. And whilst this is a big number and something that should focus people's minds, I think we also need to avoid focusing solely on that and try and accentuate the positives that the bioenergy sector can bring to local economies and the local rural establishment of Ireland. Over the last 2 weeks, the government has launched separate rural development strategies and the spatial plan consultation. The bioenergy industry has potentially a very interesting role to play in policy areas by us emphasising the job creation potential, the local rural economic benefits, and the part it plays in localised sustainability and the cost-effective solutions for the wider industry. I mean, some of the arguments here are compelling. The idea that you would use local fibre to heat local homes in rural economies, cutting out significant haulage and transport costs, is very compelling. And we need to focus on some of those strong economic benefits rather than purely on the subsidies or the targets. In the short term, it is our view that measured policy initiatives are needed to have a meaningful impact on us achieving targets and the benefits of establishing this industry. However, they need to be carefully thought through and appropriate to stimulate the right level of demand. The proposed renewable heat incentive is one such policy, which we as Coillte welcome. However, we must be cognizant of the wider sector implication of its design and introduction, which will be key to ensuring the market stability and growth are maintained. Finally, let me touch on supply and demand. Fibre, generally suitable for bioenergy, comes in many forms, from sawmill co-products to small diameter pulp logs to energy crops and brash. Looking at the wider market, there's a lot of competing demands for these sources, including demand from our board mills, from the firewood and bedding markets, and from co-firing from the Eden Dairy Power Plant. Maintaining market stability while encouraging uptake in renewable heat must be carefully balanced to allow domestic fibre supply to grow in line with the expected increases in energy demands. The introduction of a targeted renewable heat incentive aimed at the industrial heat sector should stimulate forest demand further for wood fibre, resulting in increased mobilisation of private forest resources, as well as further investment in the supply chain. Its introduction is a natural choice to make a meaningful impact on their targets, but measured in its approach and how the level of market as demand is created. However, for sustainable development in the forestry sector beyond 2020, it is also essential for us to develop new supply chains, such as energy crops, such as brash, stumps, imports, support this market growth. And this is something that we as Coillte will play a leadership role in helping people develop. Looking at the available fibre supply today, supply and demand appear to be roughly in balance, with any shortfall in domestic supply currently filled by imports, which are predominantly used for co-firing. With the effective and efficient mobilisation of private resource, supply is projected to increase quite rapidly to 3.4 million green tonnes by 2027. While the design of any demand-led incentive, such as the RHI, should stimulate new capital investment, we must be conscious that promoting the accelerated growth of one sector, in the case of bioenergy, can have an impact on the supply of fibre to the wider forest product sector. To put it bluntly, businesses like our panels business cannot be paying more for fibre than our international competitors are, and we need to ensure that they remain viable. Therefore, as previously noted, the renewable heat incentive needs to work in tandem with the efforts to mobilise our private forest resource and to ensure that supply and demand grow in sync. So in conclusion, Coillte are on a path to becoming the best forestry and land solutions company in Europe. And as part of this journey, we will provide clear leadership on the future growth of Irish forestry and in mobilising all fibre supply in this country. You as key stakeholders in the bioenergy sector now have the opportunity to engage with and influence the renewable heat incentive, which will ultimately define the rates, eligibility criteria and operational aspects of the scheme. Some of the broad aspects that I would ask you to consider as you continue your engagement are as follows. This shouldn't be just the need to hit one target. Wood fibre in all its forms is a valuable indigenous resource, should be utilised in a way that maximises value throughout the supply chain. Our vision is of an industry where supply and demand are in reasonable balance and where fibre is primarily consumed in applications that have greatest potential to create economic value, sustain and create jobs, and enhance Ireland's balance of payments by supplying or supporting key export-led industries and improving their competitiveness. This will ensure that the forest industry continues to create economic, sociological and environmental benefits for everyone. The renewable heat incentive must be appropriately targeted and focused to achieve the desired impact, without distorting the market at an accelerated pace, which is faster than which fibre supply can be mobilised. Maintaining steady growth, managing the various competing demands to ensure market stability, and driving the mobilisation of private sector resource are all key to optimising Ireland's potential and stimulating a vibrant industry utilising one of our unique indigenous assets, our forests. Thank you.
I think that gives some insights into where some of, or one of the major players in the Irish bioenergy sector is coming from. We'll have a Q&A session after the third speaker, so if you have any questions for Fergal, if you can keep them till then, that'd be great.